Tonight, the Blue Earth County Sheriff's Office has reinstated school resource officers in the St. Clair and Lake Crystal school districts.
Both districts opened the school year without SROs after the Sheriff's Office suspended their contracts. That's in response to a new state law that restricts what SROs can and can't do to resolve situations, particularly when it comes to restraining students. Last week, Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison offered a clarifying opinion stating that officers would still be allowed to use reasonable force in preventing bodily harm or death. Blue Earth County Sheriff Jeff Wursel says that St. Clair's resource officer returned to the building today and hopes Lake Crystal's will return early next week.
Gave us a little more comfort in if our SROs had to use force in schools, basically saying that they could still use reasonable force in a situation where they could use their training in a situation where there was bodily harm or death.
Additionally, the Sheriff's Office is in the process of putting a contract together to support Eagle Lake with officers while the city replaces those who have left the department. That was discussed at last night's City Council meeting. Sheriff Wursel expects the contracts to be finalized in a few months.
Some public comments were brought forward, and the City of Eagle Lake appears to be moving on with a contract with us, but that will be decided at a City Council meeting in the future, and then subject to approval by the County Board.
Wursel says both situations are ongoing and are subject to change as meetings and hearings develop. Mankato Public Safety, for now, has elected to keep SROs out of Mankato area public schools, shifting to an on-call basis since the beginning of the school year.